Hello, good day. Welcome once again to another episode of Kwentuhan Sessions. We will again discuss in here, Kwentuhan Sessions, discuss cases penned by Justice Mario V. Lopez. We are now in episode 16 kasi yun nga, maraming salamat sa suporta ninyo. We are now at 280 subscribers, 281 to be exact. And we are close to hitting 300 and dahil doon, maaaring magkaroon tayo ng episode 17 and 18. But for now, for episode 16, let us discuss the case of Elena Kiambao as the petitioner versus China Banking Corporation as the respondent, GR number 238462, May 12, 2021. Here, the court, through Justice Mario V. Lopez, defined a dragnet clause and its purpose and what are the conditions required for it to be valid. Okay, so aside from discussing dragnet clause, Justice Mario V. Lopez also discussed what is contract of adhesion and also the requirements of its validity. Okay, so I hope that gets you interested. Now we go to the facts. On April 3, 1990, Elena R. Kiambao or Elena borrowed 1.4 million from China Banking Corporation to increase working capital of her general merchandising business. So si Elena ay isang business woman. On even date, Elena and her common law husband and business partner, Daniel SC or Daniel, executed a real estate mortgage over a parcel of land under the transfer certificate title number 227449, okay, as security for the loan. So yung inutang nila kay China Bank, which is at that time, April 3, 1990, at 1.4 was secured by a mortgage over a land. Okay? So, na may title. Okay? Later, the REM was amended several times, increasing the loan to 1.7 on April 29, 1993, 2.6 on April 28, 1995, and 4 million on April 29, 1997. Okay? So, syempre, since businesswoman ito si Elena, she needed funds for her business at napapakita naman siguro niya na nakakapagbayad siya na maayos, kaya ini-increase yung kanyang credit line. And provided, ayun, nagkaroon din ng amendments sa kanyang loan contract, which include a blanket mortgage clause stating that the REM would secure the payment of obligations already incurred or which may be subsequently incurred. Okay? So, nandito na yung meat. Nagkaroon daw ng blanket mortgage clause. Okay? Dahil dun sa mga amendments. Okay? Na nagsasabi daw dun sa blanket mortgage clause na yung mga inutang mo dati, okay, kasama dun sa, or ang security niya is yung REM o yung land na prinenda mo sa amin or sinanla mo sa amin. Kasama na rin yung mga future na iuutang mo pa sa amin. Okay? Kaya sabi doon, which may be subsequently incurred. So, yung past and future, kasama doon daw sa REM dahil sa tinatawag na blanket mortgage clause. Okay? Going further, on March 1, 2005, so 2000 na, China Banking Corporation filed a petition for foreclosure of the REM with the Regional Trial Court alleging that Elena and Daniel obtained 5 million succeeding loan accommodation covered by 8 promissory notes. So, sinasabi ng China Bank na nagkaroon pa ng additional loans sina Elena and Daniel amounting to 5 million as supported by 8 promissory notes. And they are foreclosing the mortgage on the property na prenenda o sinanla na Elena based on the blanket mortgage clause. Okay? So sinasabi kasi ng China Bank dito na part ng blanket mortgage clause itong 5 million na inutang nila. Okay? So, going back, in due course, the RTC issued a notice of extrajudicial sale scheduled on May 5, 2005. The notice was published in a newspaper of general circulation and posted in public places. At the public auction, the mortgage property was sold to China Banking Corporation for the amount of 5.2 million. On May 6, 2005, the certificate of sale was issued to China Banking Corporation. However, Elena and Daniel failed to redeem the property. Okay? So dito pinakita lang na nagkaroon ng process, nagkaroon ng tamang process when it came to the foreclosure of the mortgage. Okay na, nagkaroon ng petition, nagkaroon ng publication, nagkaroon ng auction sale, at binigyan ng time sila Elena and Daniel na i-redeem yung property. However, Elena and Daniel failed to redeem the property. Therefore, the title was already or will be was consolidated, in the name of China Banking Corporation since hindi nga na-redeem yung property. Aggrieved, ito, si Elena at si Daniel, syempre, nawala sa kanila yung property, di ba? They went to the regional trial court and filed a petition to annul the mortgage and the extrajudicial foreclosure proceedings with a prayer for injunctive relief. So pinapa-annul nila yung nangyaring foreclosure. Okay? Elena argued that the REM only covered the loans secured on April 3, 1990 and its amendment, but not her succeeding loans of 5 million. So, aminado dito si Elena, okay, na meron silang loan na 5 million. Pero ang sinasabi ni Elena at ni Daniel, hindi kasama to doon, okay, hindi ito secured ng real estate mortgage, which is, ang na-secure lang ng real estate mortgage is yung una niyang loan na 1.4 na nag-increase hanggang nag-increase ng 4 million noong April 29, 1997. Hanggang dun lang yung sakop na yun. Okay? So, yun yung contention ni Elena. Okay? In contrast, China Banking Corporation maintained that Elena's loan on April 3, 1990 was extended and renewed up to March 2004. So, sinasabi naman ni China Bank, hindi lang 1997, kasama pa yung mga inutang nyo nung March until June 2004. At dahil hindi kayo nagbabayad, okay, ang binabayaran nyo lang is yung interest, pero hindi yung principal, kaya namin close. So again, yung contention dito ni China Bank is part ng REM or part ng security, okay, yung 5 million na loan. Okay? Yung 5 million na loan, is secured by the land, okay, na sinanla nila Elena. So, yun yung contention naman ni China Bank. Okay? So, ang contention dito, whether or not, okay, unahan ko na yung issue, na yung sinanlang property, covered ba niya pati yung 8 na promissory notes. Okay? Pero discuss natin ng maayos yung issue. Pero yun yung nagiging contention nilang dalawa. Okay? So nag-content silang dalawa. Ang sabi ngayon ng Regional Trial Court, the RTC granted the petition and ruled that the 8 promissory notes executed on March 19, 2004 to June 16, 2004 cannot be the basis of the foreclosure proceedings since one promissory note was clean or unsecured. So, ang sino nanalo dito? Ang nanalo dun sa petition ay si Elena. So, kinampihan ng Regional Trial Court si Elena and saying that yung 8 promissory notes na yun, okay, hindi sila kasama dun sa blanket mortgage clause. Yun yung sinasabi ng RTC. At dahil natalo si China Bank, nag-appeal sa CA. At sa CA, nireverse yung findings ng RTC and held that the REM was intended to secure all succeeding obligation in view of the blanket mortgage clause. So, dito naman si CA, okay, reversing the decision of the Regional Trial Court, depended upon the blanket mortgage clause, saying that it also covered the subsequent 8 promissory notes amounting to the 5 million. And dahil hindi na nga nila nabayaran yun, kaya tama lang na na-foreclose yung property. Okay, so magkaiba ng desisyon si RTC at si CA. Okay, the CA also noted that Elena and Daniel were capable of understanding the legal effects of contracts given their business experience. Okay, hence this recourse, Elena maintains that she and Daniel signed the 8 PNs in blank or without the material particular. So ngayon, pumunta na siya sa Supreme Court, sinasabi niyo kay Supreme Court na walang details pinapirma lang ako ng promissory note tapos wala nang ibang details yun, okay? They thought that these are character loans without any renewal of mortgage. Lastly, Elena only finished high school while Daniel reached only grade 2. They both have limited educational attainment which prevented them from discerning the effects of this transaction. Okay? Kasi yun nga sabi ni CA, kayo 'di ba? Hindi niyo binabasa yung nang maayos or hindi nyo naiintindihan yan. Pero dahil businessman kayo, okay, it is of due diligence. Okay, you must be diligent enough to discern properly kung ano yung mga transaction na pinapasok nyo. Yun yung sinasabi ng CA sa kanila. Ang depensa naman nila, Elena, hindi naman po kami nakatapos Hanggang high school lang po ako. Tapos yung asawa ko hanggang grade 2 nga lang. Okay? So, kahit naman basahin namin yan, from top to bottom, hindi pa rin namin maiintindihan yan. So, yun yung contention ni Elena. And therefore, we go to the issues. So, number 1, whether or not the blanket mortgage clause signed by Elena and her husband included the 8 promissory notes which secured by the REM. So yun nga yung contention. Kasama nga ba yung 5 million or secured nga ba yung 5 million na loan, okay, evidenced by the 8 promissory notes ng real estate mortgage which to Elena's contention, sabi niya hindi. Sabi ni China Bank, kasama. Doon nagkaroon ng issue, di ba? And number 2, whether or not the contract of adhesion signed by Elena should be given credence, okay? Yung pinirmahan daw bang kontrata ni Elena at ang kanyang asawa is valid ba yun, okay? Being it is a contract of adhesion. Mamaya, alamin natin kung ano yung contract of adhesion. Mighty band ba yan o super glue? Joke lang. Okay? So let's go to the rulings bago tayo magkaroon ng kornihan dito. Okay? Number 1, the court ruled, okay, through Justice Mario V. Lopez, no, the blanket mortgage clause signed by Elena and her husband, common law husband, does not include the 8 promissory notes which is secured by the REM. So sinabi ni Justice Mario V. Lopez, hindi kasama, okay? Hindi siya secured ng real estate mortgage, okay? Hindi kasama sa blanket mortgage clause, okay, na nilagay doon sa amendments yung 8 promissory notes na yon amounting to 5 million pesos, okay? Justice Mario V. Lopez said, we stress that a blanket mortgage clause or a dragnet clause subsumes all debts of past or future origins and makes additional funds available to a borrower without the need to execute separate security documents, thus saving time, cost, and other resources. Jurisprudence recognizes the validity of this clause, but its terms must still be judiciously examined. So, hindi naman daw invalid, okay? Altogether ang blanket mortgage clause. Actually, the court and the whole system says that it helps, it benefits all those who want to get a loan, okay? Para hindi na paulit-ulit na nagpipirmahan kayo and syempre may cost yan may processing cost, pinapanotaryo, may documentary stamp tax na binabayaran for every loan agreement. So para mabilisan na, okay? Meron ka namang security. Bakit hindi na lang natin gawin is kung ano mang mga ano mo, utang mo, secured ng isang blanket mortgage clause, okay? Hangga't meron kang credit line sa amin, makakautang at makakautang ka as far as your blanket mortgage clause is concerned. Your past and the future. However, okay, sabi ng court, kailangan tinitignan or masusing tinitignan itong mga clause na ito. Okay? Of course, to avoid disadvantageous terms. Okay? Sinabi ni Justice Mario V. Lopez, citing Paradigm Development Corporation of the Philippines versus Bank of the Philippines Island, this held that while the REM may exceptionally secure future loans or advancement, these future debts must be specifically described or must come fairly within the terms of the mortgage contract. So, here, in this case, Paradigm versus BPI, sinasabi kung ano yung requirements. Kailangan daw describe, okay, kung ano-ano nga ba yung part ng blanket mortgage clause. Ano-ano bang mga loans yun. Okay, kahit may future loans pa, kailangan specifically describe. Pati yung security, describe din, okay? a, a mortgage containing a dragnet clause will not be extended to cover future advances unless the document evidencing the subsequent advance refers to the mortgage as providing security therefore, or unless there are clear and supportive evidence into the contrary. So, hindi mo pwedeng isama or idamay, okay, although nandun sa clause na even subsequent loans kasama, pero dapat specifically na sinasabi pa rin dun sa blanket mortgage clause or sa sa loan agreement or sa amendment na itong bagong loan na to included dun sa or this is secured by the prior mortgage. Okay, yung naunang mortgage or secured by the first mortgage, let's say. Okay? So, kailangan may reference, okay? Na nagre-refer muna siya na eto kasama to dun sa mortgage na to to be in layman's term, okay? In that case, the foreclosure proceedings were declared void because there is uncertainty on whether the promissory notes were secured or not. It was not shown in the PNs or promissory notes that are within the terms of the limited liability of the debtor. So dun sa case na to, Paradigm Development versus BPI, nagkaroon ng loan, nagkaroon ng promissory notes, at nagkaroon din ng blanket mortgage clause. Okay? All similar facts halos, okay? Pero yun nga, dito sa case na to, hindi sinabi kung alin dito sa promissory notes ang part ng na may security at alin dito ang hindi part na secured. Okay? So yan. Nonetheless, still in Paradigm, nonetheless, the parties do not dispute that what the REM secured were only Sencons availments under the credit line and not all Sencons availments under a sub-facility which are also secured by other collaterals. Okay, so nagkaroon siya ng madaming loans nga. So meron yung iba secured din naman, pero iba naman yung collateral. Okay, so yan. Here, okay, punta na tayo sa facts. Applying this paradigm case, this jurisprudence, let's apply this to the facts. Here, the 8 promissory notes likewise failed to allude that Elena and Daniel's liability under the latest amendment to the REM dated 1997. The promissory notes do not even make any reference to the REM as security. Okay? Kung babasahin niyo yung full text, dun talaga naka-lay down kung ano-ano yung nga ba yung nandun sa 8 na yun, 8 na promissory notes. And you will see na walang reference as to the security. Hindi sila nagre-refer na ang security nito is yung TCT 227449. Tama ba yung aking ano? 227, tama. 227449. Yun yung unang-unang sinanla ni na Elena at ni Daniel. Okay, walang reference. Eh yun nga yung sabi sa paradigm, di ba? Na kailangan sa dragnet clause, kahit sinabi mo pang subsequent, covered nito ang subsequent loans, kailangan you must make reference to what mortgage or to what property kung ano yung security nito. Okay? Anong property ang nagsisecure ng loan na ito. Okay? So, dapat may reference pa din. Kahit sinabi mong may dragnet or blanket mortgage clause. Okay? So, worse, okay, sabi ni Justice Mario V. Lopez, going back, China Banking Corporation did not adduce any evidence proving that the REM and its amendment secured these obligations. Wala silang binigay na nagsasabi na nagre-refer dun sa unang mortgage. Okay? Whereas China Banking Corporation's loan assistant categorically testified that one of the 8 PNs or promissory notes was not subject to the real estate mortgage. So, sabi ng court dito, hence the doubt on whether the rest of the PNs are secured or not or must be construed against China Banking Corporation or the party who prepared the contracts. So, sinasabi ni Justice Mario V. Lopez dito na kung ang allegation ng China Bank is lahat ng 8 ng promissory notes secured ng mortgage. Yung pala, yung sabing assistant mismo, okay, yung isa po doon hindi po secured. Okay? So, nagkaroon ulit ng doubt in our justice's mind na kung yung isa hindi mortgage, maaari yung iba hindi rin parte noon. Kasi kung yung isa hindi maging parte, baka ibang agreement naman yung other 7. Okay? So, kaya hindi nasabi nila na walang evidence na nagsasabi or direct evidence na nagsasabi na part nga sila or part nga yun ng secured na loan under the previous mortgage. Okay? Sabi ng court, sabi ni Justice Mario V. Lopez, okay, tinuruan pa niya, the bank could have avoided the ambiguity had it exercised a little more care in drafting the instrument. Consequently, the latest amendment to the REM cannot be interpreted to cover the 5 million succeeding loans under the 8 promissory notes for which the mortgage was foreclosed. As such, the foreclosure proceedings are void. The bank cannot validly foreclose a mortgage based on the non-payment of unsecured PNs. Okay? So, sinabi ng court, sabi ni Justice Mario V. Lopez, dali-dali lang naman yung gagawin nyo. Okay, i-refer nyo lang naman, di ba? This promissory note is secured by TCP 227449. Ilalagay nyo lang naman yun doon. Hindi nyo nilagay para sana covered ng blanket mortgage clause. Yun lang naman yung hinihingi based on jurisprudence also sa paradigm na case. Okay? Pero hindi nyo nilagay. Kasi they made the assumption na based dun sa clause, sa blanket mortgage clause, na okay na yun. Kasi sabi naman dito sa blanket mortgage clause, subsequent loans din kasama. Sabi ng court, okay, and meron ng jurisprudence about that, na yun nga, you should make reference pa rin. Okay? Para mawala yung doubt whether or not these subsequent loans are secured by a property or by a mortgage. Okay? Dahil hindi na napatunayan ng China Bank na secured ito, okay? So wala siyang security, wala kayong i-foreclose. And therefore, void yung foreclosure proceedings. Okay? I hope I made it simple. Hindi ko na or hindi ko masyadong or hindi ko mas lalong pinahirapan. Okay? I hope na naintindihan nyo kung ano nandito sa ruling number 1. Okay? So, ang sabi lang dito, valid ang isang blanket mortgage clause provided na merong specific description, okay, na or specific reference yung mga subsequent loans as to what kung ano yung collateral or ano yung security or kung part nga siya nung previous na mortgage. Okay? Dapat merong reference. Okay? Yun lang naman yung gustong sabihin dito ni Justice Mario V. Lopez in his ruling in Elena versus China Bank in this issue. Okay? Second, given na void na yung blanket mortgage clause, okay? Siyempre, kinocontent pa rin ng China Bank, pipirma-pirma yun si Elena eh. 'Di ba? Dapat alam niya yan. Okay? Meron kaming agreement eh. Okay? Nagpirmahan kami. So, kahit sabihin mong hindi yan part, okay? Meron understandability yan eh. Okay? Na it is presumed na binasa niya yan at alam niya kung ano yung consequence nun. Okay? So that's why we go to issue number 2. Whether or not the contract of adhesion signed by Elena should be given credence or kailangan nga bang uh, pwede bang maging depensa ng China Bank yun, okay? Credible ga ba yung contract of adhesion, okay? So yun. So the court, through Justice Mario V. Lopez said, no, the contract of adhesion signed by Elena should not, okay, should not be given credence, okay? Justice Mario V. Lopez said, in a contract of adhesion, one imposes a ready-made contract to the other whose sole participation is either to accept or reject the agreement. The parties do not bargain on equal footing in the execution of this kind of contract, given that the debtor is limited to a take it or leave it option, and there is no room for negotiation. However, such contract is not entirely prohibited. The one adhering is free to give his consent inasmuch as he is also free to reject it completely. Okay? So, of course, I have experience personally loaning from a bank. Uh, our, itong bahay na tinitirahan namin, naka-loan sa isang bangko. At yun nga, siyempre, may mga bank forms yan. Ganun, ang haba-haba. 7 copies paminsan, ganyan. So, wala ka namang ibang gagawin kasi ikaw nga itong humihingi ng utang, di ba? So, wala kang ibang gagawin kundi pipirma ka na lang. Okay? Well, pwede mong basahin pero um, kung may time kang basahin. Sorry, kung may time kang basahin. Pero yun nga, pero sinasabi ng court dito, okay, in this paragraph, na yung contract of adhesion, hindi siya prohibited. Hindi siya invalid on its own. Okay? Valid talaga siya. Okay? Dahil meron namang consent pa rin coming from the other party or the debtor, whether he will accept or reject the terms and conditions under that contract of loan, which is a contract of adhesion dahil natawag siyang contract of adhesion dahil isang tao lang yung nag-prepare noon. Okay? Pipirma ka na lang. Yun, di ba? Yun yung concept ng contract of adhesion. Ginawa siyang adhesion dahil super glue yan, i-adhere mo na lang kasi ilalagay mo na lang yung pirma mo para secured na yung deal. Kaya nga siya tinawag na adhesion. Okay? So yun. However, yun nga, kailangan masabi na yung contract of adhesion is free yung given consent niya. Okay? The peculiar, going back, sorry, the peculiar nature of contracts of adhesion behooves the court to closely scrutinize the factual milieu to which the provisions are intended to apply. Thus, just as consistently and unhesitatingly, but without categorically validating such contract, the court has construed obscurities and ambiguities in these restrictive provisions of contracts of adhesion, strictly albeit not reasonably against the drawer thereof, when justified in the light of operative facts and surrounding circumstances. Diba? Ang big words na sinabi ni Justice Mario V. Lopez. Ano yung sabihin lang nito? In layman's term is, oo, valid yung contract of adhesion. Okay? However, since nga kaiba to daw, kasi isa lang yung party na gumagawa nag-draft neto eh. At yung isang party mag-a-agree na lang, di ba? Ang kailangan is that tignan yung facts, okay, and circumstances surrounding the agreement, okay? The agreement and the circumstances kung paano siya nag-agree, okay? Going back, just as Mario V. Lopez said, we reiterate that the validity or enforceability of the impugned contracts will have to be determined by peculiar by the peculiar circumstances obtaining in each case and the situation of the parties concerned. So, case-to-case basis pa rin yung pag-decide ng court when it comes to contract of admission. Okay, they would have to investigate and observe the factual circumstances. Okay, the contract itself and of course the environment kung ano nga ba or ano bang nangyari dun sa pirmahan na to. Baka mamaya okay nga yung kontrata tapos sinututukan ka naman sa baril. Okay? Tinututukan ka naman ng baril para lang i-sign yun, di ba? So, hindi na valid yun kasi hindi na wala ng consent, di ba? Yun yung gusto mong sabihin ng court dito na tingnan natin on a case-to-case basis. Oo, valid, pero kailangan tingnan natin yung facts. Yun yung gusto niya sila sabihin. The stringent treatment towards a contract on adhesion is pursuant to the mandate that in all contractual property or other relations, when one of the party is at a disadvantage on account of his moral dependence, ignorance, indigence, mental weakness, tender age, or handicap, the courts must be vigilant for his protection. So here, the court already knows that the person signing, okay, the person who adheres to the contract is at a disadvantage already. Okay, lalo na kunyari sa contract of loan, nung nag-loan kami, okay, hindi naman, ano yun eh, hindi naman bibigyan ka ng choice na, ay, ito ba gusto mong interest? Okay, ito ba yung gusto mong ilalagay na penalty, ganyan-ganyan. Hindi eh, di ba? Take it or leave it nga eh. Okay? At dahil at a disadvantage ka, ikaw yung lumalapit, di ba? Yun yung circumstance dito. Ikaw yung lumalapit, ikaw yung may kailangan. So mag-agree ka. Ganun yung terms ng contract of admission. Okay? So somehow, nasa disadvantage yung isang tao na magsasign ng isang contract under a contract of admission. Okay? It may under moral dependence, ignorance, indigence, mental weakness, tender age, or handicap. So the court um, is of knows this kind of facts na baka napipilitan lang yung taong nagsasign nun. Kaya kailangan natin tignan yung factual circumstance nito. Okay? I hope I explained it right. Okay? Going back, inarguably, the amendments to REM are contracts of adhesion. It was China Banking Corporation which drafted and prepared the standard forms on which Elena and Daniel merely affixed their signature. At the trial, it was established that Elena and Daniel signed the amendments to the REM in blank. They presented a pro forma blank documents that China Bank Okay, naman.